been serving as the state representative of District 143 for the past 3 years, and James Beverly says he's not done yet. 41 NBC's Ashley Minnelli sat down with Beverly to find out what's on his agenda if he's reelected.
So what do you feel like you have left to get accomplished that you weren't able to accomplish in the past 3 years you've been up there?
Yeah, so there's so much work to do. The very first thing I want to do is really continue to expand. Remember when I first got up there, I started the Community Enhancement Authority, whose sole responsibility was to shrink the footprint of poverty, is to really build the infrastructure there. And to really not just talk about poverty, but really start to talk about job creation. How do we use that authority to leverage the resources at the federal government, the state level, and the municipal level to actually really bring real infrastructure to economic development? We're about to do something very huge as it relates to the small business department that we created, and I'm not going to tell you yet. But in the next 10 days.
You're gonna leave us hanging.
Yes, you got to come back. You got to come back.
Okay, the next 10 days we'll have to tune in.
Yes.
Now, just going back to that poverty authority for a second, kind of where are we with that, and why has it taken 3 years to kind of get it up and running?
Yeah, so I mean, you really have to build an infrastructure. I mean, you have bylaws, you have legal, you have a lot of things that you have to do to make sure that as you start to acquire property and you start to actually move stuff around, that you have the right infrastructure in place, building the board out, those kind of things. And you don't necessarily want to do that with money. You don't need that. What you're really trying to do is figure out who are the real stakeholders in the community, getting people involved in the idea, and really just challenging the suppositions. What is poverty? Because again, there's probably 15, 20 different categories of poverty or more. It's something different when someone is a single dad with 2 kids, or a mom and a father living together with no kids. They still may have the same plight, call them poverty, but they have different needs. And so to think through that stuff and to strategically work through that, we have to make sure we have that in place before we start really actually trying to raise money and do the things we need to do to actually address the issue.
Well, talking about poverty and areas of need, one of those areas was that Jeffersonville Road. It's been a lot of people call it an eyesore. They say it's damaging to their cars. A couple of weeks ago, you and Mayor Ricker promised a short-term fix for paving that area. Now
we did it.
You did it, and now your opponent is saying, though, that he and Senator Lucas and Chairman Sam Hart were the people who came up with the long-term solution, getting all the state dollars in place. Did you have any part in that?
No, I mean, you're talking about long-term solution. It's 20 years, and that's part of the problem, right? We've done this. Well, when you ride down that road, up until Saturday, it was still bumpy. And so the long-term strategy, we're not talking about a long-term strategy. We have to start being smart in our community about what we need today. You got to fix it, and you have to do it. Now, that short-term solution is a huge solution because it was supposed to be done, what, 10, 15 years ago. Now we're 20 years into it, and we're still promising people in that neighborhood something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. We did this. We did. He's not even in office, right? You didn't do anything. And the truth of the matter is that we actually paved that road. It's something I ran on.
Tonight on the 41 NBC News at 11, you can catch part 2 of Ashley's interview with Representative Beverly. He'll talk more in depth about how he wants to position Macon to benefit from major economic projects in other parts of Georgia.